ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं विभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. The nectar of thy words revives the scorched spirit of human beings. They purify the sinner and are the life of the holy. To hear them itself is auspicious and peace generating. They are the real givers who spread thy name far and wide. Oh. Welcome to the Vedanta Society's scripture class. And today's scripture is Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In the last scripture class, we were studying Sri Ramakrishna describes about the Jivan Mukta or Vijnani. How Vijnani is a person who practices uh, the philosophy of jnana, or who experiences God in everyday life. And every moment he experiences that the reality of spirituality. So that is Vijnani. And Jnani is the one who knows the theoretically, but has not yet made it practical thing, that as practical in his everyday living, every movement of life. As Swami Vivekananda says, the spirituality should be manifest, and it should manifest in every movement of life. So spiritual knowledge manifesting and experiencing in every movement of life is Vijnana. So let us go further. Uh, Page 418, chapter A Day at Dakshineshwar, and entry dated April 5, 1884. After attaining Vijnana, one can live in the world as well. Then one clearly realizes that God Himself has become the universe and all its living beings, and He is not outside the world. So one sees God everywhere. Everything becomes divinized for that person. In his experience, that thing comes that God has become all those. With this change in attitude, and with this not only conviction, it is the experience that person has, and his whole dealing with the world changes, his attitude changes, his inner transformation comes with this. And as it says, and he sees God in all living beings, that he is not outside the world. Sri Ramakrishna at one place says, differentiates between the person of knowledge and ignorance. He says he is ignorant who says God is there, God is there, up in the heaven, or which controlling, God is outside. And the man of knowledge says God is here, Setha, Shetha, there, and that is ignorance. And Hetha, here, that is knowledge. When one can perceive God in this universe as manifestation of God, so that is the stage of Vijnani. For that person, already he is living in Vaikuntha, Kailasa, or Brahman. That person doesn't have to go after death. The soul doesn't have to travel to Vaikuntha or Kailasa or Swarga, that type of heaven, that type of idea which we have. That person lives in heaven in this world. This very world becomes heaven because that person lives with God manifested as this universe, with human beings, animals, plants, and rivers, stars, planets, galaxies. All they become God manifested, and that person is in constant association with manifested God. So that is the stage of Vijnani. So Sri Ramakrishna, after saying that, he says to Pran Krishna, the fact is that one must have the spiritual eye. You will develop that eye as soon as your mind becomes pure. Take, for instance, the Kumari Puja. I worshipped a virgin. The girl, to be sure, had all her human imperfections. Still, I regarded her as the Divine Mother herself. Now, Seeing God everywhere, that is the stage of a Vijnani. Now, Sri Ramakrishna says, what is Kumari Puja? In for Sri Ramakrishna, the girl or the human being having all the human imperfection, how can we worship God in that? So he says, if one is Vijnani, can see God manifesting as that girl, Divine Mother manifesting as that girl. For Sri Ramakrishna, who saw Divine Mother manifesting in the image, Divine Mother manifesting and coming in the form of various kinds of human beings, for him it was not difficult to see Divine Mother in a girl, human girl, which is all the human imperfections. That is the spiritual eye that he has developed. He just says, how did it happen? How could I worship God in a human being? How could I worship human being as God? That is the philosophy behind worship of Kumari Puja during Durga Puja in Ramakrishna Mission centers where Durga Puja is done in India. So in all the centers, mostly this Kumari Puja is done, where elaborate Durga Puja is done in the image. And a little girl is worshipped, decorated very nicely, a girl of 5 years, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years, like that. And she is worshipped, different names are given. It is in the Tantra that worship of girl as a Kumari, as the manifestation of Divine Mother in the human form and the human body. So God can manifest. Sri Ramakrishna could see Divine Mother in the form of a girl. She was walking really. That was the vision he had. And now he said, I worship Divine Mother in the girl itself, virgin girl. How did I worship little girl? How did I worship? And he says, before that, he said about the spiritual eye. When the spiritual eye is developed, then everything becomes divine. Everything. So that girl does not remain girl anymore. That girl remains the form of Mother Durga, form of Mahamaya, or form of the Shakti. So that is how Sri Ramakrishna says he could see. Now we also do Kumari Puja. We have not yet realized, we are not still at the Vijnani. So how do we worship Kumari? That we try to see that Divine Mother is in front of me in the form of Kumari. As we go to the temple, then we try to imagine that Mother is there. Mother is accepting our worship and prayer and our offering. We try to imagine that, though we don't see Mother living in the image, but we try to impress upon our mind, Mother is here. And Sri Ramakrishna saw Divine Mother here. When we go to Annapurna, then we impress that Swami Brahmananda saw Mother is there. I am not yet so much purified to say Divine Mother there. It doesn't mean that Divine Mother is not there. It's my weakness, my shortcoming that I am not seeing her there. But in fact, she is there. It is she who is residing there. And still mind get purified, then you see God not only in the image or in the photographs or in the some holy place. You start seeing God in whole this universe, whole manifestation of the universe become manifested at the divine. Every man will be seen as Krishna and every woman as Divine Mother, Mother Radha, or every man as Rama and every woman as Sita. Sri Ramakrishna also says that happens. And still you grow, then there is no distinction between Rama and Sita. You may see Divine Mother in a man also. Doesn't matter at all. A man can be seen as the Divine Mother manifesting as human being. Or you can say Krishna manifested in a woman. So it doesn't matter. It is all divine being. Distinction between Krishna and the Kali vanishes. All become same. There is a beautiful song that is in Bengali. There is a song. Oh Mother Kali, can you put your sword down and hold the flute and play the music? I want you to see in the form of Krishna, because I know that you and Krishna are same. Divine Mother Kali with our sword and head, and Krishna playing flute and sweet smile, and Divine Mother ferocious are not two different beings. Same being appears as two different forms. And can you show to me as the Krishna, says one beautiful song. So like that, Arjuna requests Krishna, his own charioteer, can I see you in the universal form, Vishwarupa Darshana? Krishna, his charioteer, his friend, hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi, oh my friend, oh Yadava, oh Krishna, he used to say that way. And Krishna suddenly, okay, nobody has seen this. Even great teachers have not seen. Very few people have seen. Almost. Perhaps Arjuna was the first to see the divine form as far as the Krishna goes there. And of course, Sanjay also could describe that form. So there he sees Krishna in totally different form. And that form was not very happy form. Krishna playing flute and shining and all bright and all joy. It was not that. Krishna showed to Arjuna Vishwarupa. It's not the Vishwarupa is this form, terrible form. Krishna became Kali. And she said, Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddha. I show you my universal form as the Kala, at the time, all devouring time. That form I've taken to show you. Because Arjuna, though he said, show me your universal form, he didn't know what type of form is that. But Krishna showed him the form of God, which is there to destroy, to absorb the creation into himself. So that form, seeing really Krishna, the bravest of warrior, bravest of human being, he was afraid and said, oh, please remove this form and show me your original form with four arms. And he wants to see the form of Vishnu. Krishna, he thought that Vishwarupa Darsana would be something like that. But she's Kalos, Viloka, Kshayakrit, Praviddha. He says that I am the Kala, I'm the time, all destroyer time, and I have come to destroy Lokakshaya, to destroy the world. That form I'm showing to you. To say to Krishna, Arjuna, that battle, killing, he said all the sorts of arguments in the beginning. Oh, all men will die, all this will happen, so many killing, I don't want to fight. What you will fight, Arjuna? All this is planned. You have to show as if you are putting the arrow. Someone else will kill. That is me. Will kill Drona and Bhishma and other persons. You, as if the world will see you are killing. What is all destroying time? That is killing. That is the plan of the thing. Mahabharata has to happen. It is not your thing. You can do nothing. You can, without the grace of God or power of God, you cannot even kill an ant. So, what to talk of the great enemies that you have conquered? All is by the grace of God, by the power of God. That's what story of Uma Himavati in Kena Upanishad. That God's thought that we have conquered Dhritarashtra, we are so powerful that we can conquer all our enemies, powerful enemies. So much of ego to Indra, Agni, Varuna, Vayu, all that had come. And then God, the Supreme Being, thought, oh, I didn't want them to be so egoistic to think that they are the real conquerors and victorious. And then comes in the form of Uma Himavati, and Indra comes there, and Uma Himavati, Divine Mother, has to give the knowledge. When they were forgetting the truth, deviated from knowledge, and a pride had come, then Divine Mother comes to them. Forget not that all it is the Brahman, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Consciousness, by whose power you have conquered. You have not conquered by yourself. You should not be egoistic for conquering that. Without His power given to you, you cannot even change the straw from one place to another. Mighty air cannot do that. God of air cannot do that. Mighty God of fire, who burns the whole forest, so powerful. It cannot burn that small straw. That power is of the Brahman. So here also, Arjuna was shown that all I have done, nimitta matram bhavasabhya sachin, be just an agent as if you are doing. But you are not doing. All is done by God. So many verses. Prakrittaiva hi karmani kriyamanani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. God, Sri Krishna says, only egoistic, foolish person says, I am the doer. Otherwise, person of knowledge says, nature is doing all this thing. Prakriti hi karmani kriyamanani sarvasa. All work is done by nature. This we working, we cooking, we teaching, we treating, all this is done by the Prakriti. What Prakriti? This our hand, mind, intellect, all are Prakriti. This is not we. We are witness consciousness. We are just there. By our mere presence, Prakriti becomes active and starts working. And if we forget that, if we do not do know that, then we become fool. Aham vimuda atma. Vimuda atma. What is fool? Foolish person who is egotistic. I have done, I have achieved, I have acquired, I have done PhD, like that thing. One girl comes to Swami Sarvagatananji and in Boston. And Swamiji asked him, "What are you doing?" One student, international student from India. He says, "Swamiji, I am doing PhD." So coming all the way from England to do PhD, a girl coming in like 70s, 80s, it was a big thing for a person. So she was accomplished person, very academic, accomplished. Then Maharaj says, "Well, you're doing PhD, and how much time it will take?" More than 4 years more left, 1 year done, 4 years left. Don't worry, come with me. I'll give you PhD. Well, that girl saw what Maharaj Swami is saying, and he took him to the kitchen. Now it is PhD. Prepare Hindu dish. That is PhD. So, like that is the thing. Nothing is PhD, is all being done by the Prakriti. Don't identify with the Prakriti. Identify with the higher thing than that. You are not mere your intellect attaining PhD. You are much more higher and glorious. You are the Atman itself, on which whole Prakriti is based. Whole Prakriti is active because of the presence of the consciousness of the Atman. Without Atman, Prakriti is powerless, worthless. So we have that power behind the power of Prakriti. So that's why if we do not understand that, we are stupid, we are fool, we are ignorant. And when we are ignorant, then this ahankara comes. I have done. Sri Krishna tries to teach through Arjuna to everyone. The message is there for every one of us on. And how this Sri Ramakrishna says how this mental attitude in the jnani and the ignorant person, in the person of knowledge and ignorant comes, attitude differs. Ignorant person will see this world as something different from me and confronting me, and I will be always fearful of how I will survive, and always there is doubt on other person. This person is good, that person is bad. Will I be robbed? Will I be cheated? Always doubting on other persons. That's how fearless and uncertain we are in this world, because we see the world as something that is not congenial to me. So always afraid. But when we are person of knowledge, then you see all as God. Little here and there may happen. Somebody may insult you, but other will praise you. So there is no problem in the world. Is created that way, mixture of good and bad. So why do you worry? Anxiety and worries are gone. Whatever comes to you by God says, accept that temporary thing coming and going. We are growing in age, short life. Life will end. So don't worry what person said, what he does. Don't have always doubt on others, and don't be always afraid for your security. To find security in this world itself is foolishness. World cannot give you security. One Swami compared world with a cardboard chair, beautifully carved, wonderfully lying, nice to look at. But if you see it once, it will all be broken. It cannot stand your weight. You cannot rely on it. It is unreliable. That world is that way. So it is beautiful to see what it gives, what the world can give. It can give you entertainment. World can give you. It can give you education. These are the things that world can give you, and something for your body and mind to survive. So it can give you experience, but it cannot give you security, because world itself is insecure. It's itself changing. So it is beautiful to look at and learn. If you can educate yourself by seeing the world, you have really utilized this world. Educate yourself, grow with the help of the world. As Sri Ramakrishna says beautifully, that what is the difference between human being and God? Human being, God is the one who gives you 100 things. You should do this, do this, do this, do this. And all those things that God asked us to do, we fail in 99 things and only follow one thing. God will remember that one thing. He is my devotee. How is he devotee? He followed. I had said that thing he followed. He kept the words and he followed that thing. God is happy, very pleased with that person. And what is the human being? They say you do many things to human beings. 100 things you do to human beings. 100 things they expect from you. So among the 100 things, you have done 99 things what they expected. But one thing you could not fulfill their wish. And human beings will remember that one thing which you could not fulfill. They will forget all 99 good that you have done to them. That is the human nature. This is the difference between human beings and God. You with the knowledge, if you understand the nature of human beings, then you don't expect anything in return. That will happen. Mostly those who are benefited, whom you have helped, whom you were there when they needed something, those are the people who mostly criticize you. You might have seen when you try to help somebody, some of your relations, some of your friends in India, you go on helping some monetarily or some way. And they ask some money, daughter's marriage, buying this house, this, that. You go on doing something, some money, $500, $200, you go on sending. And sometimes it comes, they want to have more, and you say, that much money I don't have. I will struggle very, it's so difficult. Our house rent itself is $2,500. I hardly earn $3,000 perhaps, or $4,000. So when you come first, and I don't have so much money. All that good you have done, that person will forget. And that's why, oh, that man has gone to Canada and so much money is there, and he gets so much money, he could not even help me in that. He will, when you go back next time, he will not come to see you. He will spread all the message that he really didn't help me. That person didn't help me when I was in dire need. All forgets what you have done. That is the most experience of many people. That is the nature of the world. So that is what is knowledge. You understand the nature of the world, and when you find somebody whom you have helped, not really appreciating you or either going against you, you are not upset. Swami Vivekananda in the West, he gave sannyasa to two persons. For sannyasa, there is so much of things to be known. He was so large-hearted, he gave sannyasa to two persons in the West, Americans. One of the two persons just deserted Swamiji and started his or her own way to go. And another person went against Swamiji, started criticizing Swami Vivekananda, his own guru, his own sannyasa. Swamiji never spoke anything against these two disciples, sannyasin disciples. You see, what is America? I gave sannyasa to them out of compassion, and they are criticizing me. One has gone against me. Nothing saying. He knows the nature of the world. I helped them when they wanted that. Now they are not up to it. It's up to them. What does it matter? Doesn't matter at all. So like this, you become wiser by knowing the nature of the world and nature of God. So then how to make this world manifestation of God? World is the manifestation of God in that way. Manifestation of God manifests in the form of saint, in the form of thief, in the form of cheat, in the form of kind person. All those different forms are the forms of God. So you say thank you God in the form of cheat, come thank you God in the form of kind person. You are very fine with all God appearing as a many person. The story that Swami Vivekananda said, he saw one monk. He was like a very high degree of monk, and there were some kids thought he was a mad person. They were throwing stones on that person, and that person was laughing when he was being hit by stones. Kids were hitting, and blood was coming from his body. And that person, what Leela God has done, what play, no anger towards anyone. And Swami Vivekananda saw that. He, in fact, treated that person's wound, and with some ash, a cloth, burning cloth, he got some wound to the ash to act as antiseptic and treated. But he saw the saintliness of the saint, that is not at all against, or she is dejected, or very unhappy and have any sort of hatred for the kids who were throwing stones on him. He saw Prabhu's Leela. What a Leela of God is going on. Wonderful Leela, doesn't matter at all. So this total identification with the body also goes and sees God as wonderful thing. Yes, please.
Can I ask?
Yeah, you can ask.
From my understanding and my religious teachings from you guys and everything, I have learned that the most prominent form of success or most is our state of mind. How soon we bring our mind to a calm state, despite the events or anything or people, how we go through the world and how we're affected, and how soon we bring our life to a self to a calm state of mind.
Excellent note. Excellent thing you told. Very, very, very understanding. Just we have to, when really time of challenge comes, real experience comes, it is not so easy. When we are calm, it is easy. But when we experience some great loss or some great insult or great fall, job goes away without you doing anything wrong, and the misunderstanding and misreporting to your boss or manager for the wrong that happened, but you were not responsible, then it's very difficult to think it is God's play. But if you can make that time it's God's play and don't lose your peace of mind, so that will be real practicing spirituality. We have to do that. That is what the sign of knowledge is. That sign of knowledge. On one side is the wife, and on the other side, son. Love is bestowed on both, but in different ways. Therefore, it comes to this that everything depends upon the mind. The pure mind acquires a new attitude. Through that mind, one sees God in this world. Therefore, one needs spiritual discipline. Seeing God in this world is the goal of spiritual life. That is the sign of Jivan Mukti, that everything is divinized, is divine. God seems to appears to have become all this, and you start living amidst God. You don't have to be with God, Krishna. When you go to Vaikuntha, this world becomes Vaikuntha. I say to people, this Canada is a beautiful place. When I came here, one person who was here and was later joined the Belur Math, he was a brahmachari that time. He said, Swami, go to Canada. It's a very nice place, though people complain of many things and all that. But it's a nice place. The room, there are no mosquitoes, and the weather is controlled. You can do good meditation there. It's very nice. He has enjoyed and experienced that goodness of the Western world. All you can, if you want to do meditation, there's no disturbance at all. It's so quiet. In India, there's always some sound is there, car going, honking, this, that, and mosquitoes singing, and after that something biting if you don't react to that, and the sweating and all those things are there. But here you can meditate. When I came, Canada, it's so cold. In winter, all snow, 20 centimeter. Tomorrow will be 25 centimeter of snow, like that news coming. And when I came in 2003, it was really a lot of snow that year. And then I said, oh, first time snow seeing. I saw once in Badrinath when I had gone, and accidentally in the May it snowed there. Generally in May it doesn't snow. And that I had seen snow. But here, falling snow, always all white, everything, trees have no leaves, are all snow. Then I said, oh, this is Kailas, all white. So I said, in winter it is Kailas, and in summer all plants blooming, this, that is Vaikuntha. So this is Kailas in winter, and in summer it is Vaikuntha. That is what we are here. So those who have can see God, they will find this all Kailas, Shiva in different forms in winter, and Krishna in different forms in summer. All is Krishna manifesting, and sometimes Shiva manifesting as different human beings. That type of attitude. Then, when you love God in the form of Krishna or Shiva, when is the manifestation? Then you love every human being with all different manifestation of being. It doesn't have to be very supportive, kind, and very smiling always. Some are angry, some have different thoughts, some are really they do not like you. Still, that is God working at some person who doesn't like you. So are we able to raise our mental level to that state? It all depends on the mental attitude, says Sri Ramakrishna. Person treats wife and son differently, but to this are their mental attitude, if we change, this whole world becomes divinized. It all becomes God and beautiful and lovely. This whole world becomes. So for that is needed. Therefore, one needs spiritual discipline. It doesn't come by itself by hearing or talking. Spiritual discipline is needed to transform our attitude, transform our perception of the world and people in the world, and adjust and accept the world as it is. That's what it is said. Accept the world as it is. Don't expect something different. The world is like that, mixture of good and bad. Accept the world and enjoy the world. If it is poisonous ivy, don't go near it. Don't touch. It is nice, nice fruit and given to you. Eat that. And you both are there. Necessary. It happens in the world. You find only good plants will be there. Oh, the Sri Ramakrishna says God has created poison plants and also created some very nice fruits. But that is how the creation is: mixture of good and bad, and accept both. That's how it becomes the world. So don't worry for that. Yes, spiritual discipline is necessary. Again, he says, spiritual discipline. You should know that a man becomes easily attached to a woman. A woman naturally loves a man, and a man also naturally loves a woman. Therefore, both fall speedily from their spiritual idea. But it also must be said that there is a great advantage in leading the life of a householder. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna wants to say, that householder's life is a great life. um, and that natural love for the opposite gender, that's very ingrained in the system. That is what it is made. So, and there is what it says, the speedily downfall, because there is no, if there is no control, that you cannot see God in your other person. So yeah, and then you become affected by ego, and instead of serving others, you start trying to enjoy the world. When you try to enjoy the world, it becomes selfish. Actually, there is nothing in the world to enjoy, and you don't enjoy the world without any. You have to pay tax to enjoy the world. You have to pay something side reaction to enjoy the world. The side reaction is losing your spiritual awareness. So if any enjoyment in the world, eat a lot of ice cream, little, if you have controlled enjoyment, that is fine. Yukta har viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Yoga will become remover of all miseries, but it has to be done in moderation. Yukta ahara vihara, recreation and eating in moderation. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu. Even your work should be in moderation. Yukta swapna avabodhasya, sleeping in moderation, waking up in moderation. So that all becomes congenial to the practice of yoga. And when you have become yogi, then all your miseries will go. So moderation, Sri Krishna says. So you can do moderation. Sri Ramakrishna also says that to the thing. And he says, after saying that, it can be downfall if you are not alert and if you are not holding on to spiritual practice. Then he says, the householder's life is a great life where there are many things, it is easily done. Sri Ramakrishna, other place, says it is like fighting from within the fort. Householder's life is, when you are sannyasi, you are exposed. No, nothing is there. In householder's life, there are many checks and balances in the householder's life. So in life of alone, there is no check and balance. Who is going to see you? But in householder's life, any little thing and you are caught and you are straightened. So that is a great, like, fighting. And you get food. Sri Ramakrishna says, in householder's life, you don't have to worry for food. You go and earn some money and food is there. Protection of the house is there. In a sannyasi life, particularly the one who moved, the parivrajak, where they will stay, they do not know. Where will next food will come, they do not know. It is fighting, like fighting in the open. So that is what the difference between. And so he praises householder's life. It's a very good place and a good asrama to practice spirituality. You can do japam, you can earn food, you can work, you can read the scriptures. So all the things can be done in householder's life very balanced way. You have to have a routine and follow the routine, and it's wonderful life to be. All supporting people are there. You have expression of your emotions, expression of your love to your children, grandchildren. When you grow up, there is still more grandchildren, but that love should be expressed without attachment. Attachment is possession. My son. Instead of saying, oh, wonderful child, wonderful person, how sweet that person walks and talks. Don't say it because my grandson, grandchild, that's why I love. Just the baby it is, that's why I love. So don't bring your my, just the being is there. And so sweet talking, so sweet doing, like that. If you enjoy that without attachment, it is a great life, says Sri Ramakrishna. Then he says, in case of urgent necessity, a man may live with his wife. So then smiling, he says to M, well, M, why are you smiling? So M was smiling, he was married, he used to live with his family. And he saw him smiling, seeing Sri Ramakrishna's thing. And he didn't say M, he said Master, he used to say to M. His name was Mahendranath Gupta, and he used to write with a pen name, nickname as M, he's hiding all other things. M. M meaning Mahendranath Gupta. Sri Ramakrishna used to call him master because he was a teacher. And teachers are India are called master. Hmm. And also here you'll find the master as for Sri Ramakrishna. Master means teacher. Actually, Sri Ramakrishna is a teacher. So master used to say, that's why M, why are you smiling? Then what is the M's reaction? M to himself. The master makes this much allowance for householders, since they cannot renounce everything. Is complete and absolute continence impossible for a householder? That he was struggling, he was going through that. How Sri Ramakrishna developed such thing. Master was a very noble person, very with lot of self-discipline, control, and all that. Very noble person, truthful, noble, charitable, wonderful quality, one of the very highest order of person. Sri Ramakrishna was raising him spiritual at the spiritual level. Why to say him? What about Girish? He was a debauchee, person of no character, and he made at the end that Girish goes like a saint. He gave up all the vices and says, if I knew that Sri Ramakrishna would be coming, I would have committed more vices because I would be redeemed, I would be transformed. However, sin and wrongdoing or worldliness attached to the worldly enjoyment, I would be. Sri Ramakrishna, the incarnation of God, would pull me out from that. I would be saved because He's that power. So that's what Girish goes, his life is there. So M says, is there no possibility for practicing continence? But there is possibility. There are many people who really practice continence, even the householder. Sri Ramakrishna said, after having one or two children, live like brothers and sisters to husband and wife. He said that. Living like brother and sister doesn't happen unless we give our mind more to God, more to spiritual practice, more to japam, prayer, meditation, study. When do that a lot, then all other things, enjoying that world, it becomes less and less and less. And the mode of joy, the finer kind of joy then starts coming. Joy in listening to devotional song, joy in reading the scriptures, joy in understanding the very subtlety of the scriptures. All that replaces our desire to enjoy the world. So that what happens, then we gradually become spiritual. And when we try to become spiritual and find joy in spirituality more than the joy in the worldly enjoyment, then somehow that power comes in the form of grace of God. And we find, I thought it is not possible, but it seems that it is possible to control all our desires and live a very the life of continent. Isn't it possible? He says, but Yam's life would be changed so much his life will be changed. All were like the saints. They say in Vrindavan Leela, all gopis were loved Sri Krishna as their sweetheart. And what who were they? Gopis. Gopis were rishis in the previous life who wanted to enjoy love of God, and they were born as gopis in Vrindavan just to taste and enjoy the love of God, where all other joys, the worldly joys, are all set aside. They had their husband, they had their children, they had to feed, they had to do everything. But for them, Krishna became the top of their love, without even knowing that Krishna is God. They loved Krishna as sweetheart because they were loving God without knowing. They got all pure love for God. So God's love is that. When we start having love for God, there's all purity and spiritual purity comes. And that is the so much of intenser joy that bliss comes that cannot be compared with the pleasures of the senses. With very gross, very dilute that happiness is. So one needs to transcend that and achieve the higher joys of spiritual world. That can happen by the grace of God. Now and context changes. The Hatha Yogi who had been living in Panchavati entered the room. Um, he was in the habit of taking milk and opium. Hatha Yogi, what to do? That time to say opium was very common. It was not regarded as something you have nowadays, some addiction. It was like a medicine also. That time all medicines were not there. Medicine to cure the stomach when there were like diarrhea like symptom. Opium was taken as the medicine for diarrhea, uh, to control loose motion. And by eating opium as the medicine, slowly people got addicted to opium. That's true because it is addiction. But started as taking it as medicine. This Hatha Yogi came here to show the Hatha Yoga, do all the exercise, and he wanted milk and opium, and had requested Rakhal to tell to Sri Ramakrishna that he says to his devotees to provide this Hatha Yogi who was living in Panchavati some milk and opium. Then what? That person comes and he says, he did not eat rice or other food and had no money to buy the milk and opium. He didn't eat any rice, or he filled his stomach with milk and opium. Opium didn't fill the stomach. With milk and some opium has to be there. And didn't eat rice at all. What? The master had talked with him in the Panchavati. He came, master was so friendly to everyone. Any sadhu coming, any person coming, Sri Ramakrishna used to become friendly, to introduce himself and to talk with them. Everywhere he went that way. The Hatha Yogi had told Rakhal to ask the master to make some provision for him. And Sri Ramakrishna had promised to speak about it to the visitors from Calcutta, that he will put his word to the devotees, and if devotees can contribute something. Hatha Yogi to the master, what did you say to Rakhal about me? So did Rakhal say to me about me something, and did you work that? He means to say, but he said, Rakhal aapse kya bola? He said in Hindi though. Sri Ramakrishna would understand Hindi. And he could also speak Hindi, but to him that he said in Bengali, what did you say to Rakhal about me? When he said, Rakhal, did he say about I need milk and opium, and you were to tell that? Did you go to work that? Master, I said that I would ask some rich visitors to help you, but to Pran Krishna, you perhaps do not like these yogis. He said, because Ram Pran Krishna was there, all devotees. Pran Krishna was a rich person. Then he said, you didn't give anything to him, it seems. You don't like such a Hatha Yogis, it seems, he said. And this like word he used in English. He didn't say in Bengali. So Sri Ramakrishna knew, the biographer said he knew in his stock of the words, vocabulary, there were half a dozen of English words. Only about 5, 6 English words he used to use. And he used to eat sometimes. Perhaps you do not like such yogis, he says to Pran Krishna, because nobody came forward to help him. He used to say another word that he often uses, thank you. When he was in mood, he used to say to people, thank you, he used to say in English. And sometimes he says philosophy, in his own pronunciation, philosophy, he used to say. Philosophy. What a philosophy says, I don't know, he used to say in Bengali, of course, he would say. What a philosophy says, I don't know. So like that. And sometimes he said to Girish and Naren, now you argue in English. I want to hear that. He will not understand English, but he wants them to argue in English because all have understood English. So they were saying something, what you are talking about. Oh, it's very deep, you will not understand. You are not educated like us, says Naren to Sri Ramakrishna. All they treated Sri Ramakrishna like friend. Narendranath, 20 years old, Sri Ramakrishna, almost 50 years old. But they treated him like friend. And always Sri Ram, Swami Vivekananda to Swami Vivekananda, who was friend. It is said that God is the friend, that a friend of all. That's what the word often says. Mm. Surin Mitra Udasina Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhusu. Like Surit Mitra, like that is the God. God is the friend of all. And here that you will not understand. You are not educated like us. So Swami Vivekananda says Sri Ramakrishna doesn't mind anything. So like that was the relationship. When Swami Vivekananda came and he had to worship Sri Ramakrishna, he didn't go into ritualistic worship, Panchopachara Puja, Shodasopachara Puja, nothing like that. That was Ramakrishna Anand. He would do all the rituals and mantra, and Om Cham Bang Fang, like that, everything was said. But how did Swami Vivekananda used to worship? He used to take flower in both of hands and offer to Sri Ramakrishna. And the food was kept and gave the food to Sri Ramakrishna. No mantra, no gesture, mudra, and nothing. And what he used to say? Now, oh friend, now take this. Bandhu, those, please take. He used to say in that. To treated Sri Ramakrishna like friend. That was the relationship between Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was so friendly to every one of them. That's why they didn't mind. It was so simple, like a boy, little boy, that without ego. When you see person without ego, he becomes very, very lovable. The ego is the thing that takes us away from the person. When we have less ego, that person is very friendly. Sri Ramakrishna was friendly that way. So whatever he said to people, people also didn't mind. To one person, he said, "Oh, you didn't donate for something. Water is needed for this Rakhal's house, and you didn't donate to him that for to make the reservoir. They are in need of some water." And he said to one, there was one, what was his name? So he said, "Oh, I know you will not give. You belong to Teli caste." He said to a person, "You belong to Teli caste." Means Teli means oil, who are business, do the business of oil, and they are considered to be miserly people. And like that, he said in front of all to a person, "You belong to a miserly caste." And who will not be offended with that? And that person, nothing, no problem, will still seated there, nothing, angry and gone and all that. After some time, then he says, "You could say, ask me to give, again, ask me to give to Rakhal's thing. Why you have to take my caste and all that and say Teli, and you are like the oilman caste and all that?" But not offended at all. So that was the Sri Ramakrishna nature. When one is without ego, and this becomes like a baby, like a boy, and no problem. They become very friendly. That was Sri Ramakrishna nature. And you will find in the gospel written, like a boy, he was sitting, like a boy, he was smiling. Everything becomes so sweet about Sri Ramakrishna. When we say Adharam, Madhuram, Vadanam, Madhuram about the Krishna, everything about the Krishna is so sweet. He's walking, he's sleeping, he's eating, everything is so sweet. This all is because Krishna had no ego. Egolessness brings all the sweetness in every action that person does. Hatha Yogi to the master. Pran Krishna remained silent. The Hatha Yogi left the room and the conversation went on. Master to Pran Krishna and the others. If a man leads a householder's life, he must have unflagging devotion to truth. God can be realized through truth alone. Formerly, I was very particular about telling the truth, though now my zeal has abated a little. If I said, "I shall bathe," then I would get into the water of the Ganges, recite the mantra, and sprinkle a little water over my head. But still, there would remain some doubt in me as to whether my bath was complete. Once I went to Ram's house in Calcutta. I happened to say, "I shall not take any luchi." When I sat down for the meal, I feel hungry, but I had said I would not eat the luchi. So I had to fill my stomach with sweets. Allah. That was his holding on to truth. She said that must, I had the zeal to practice the truth. Whatever came from my mouth, that I had to practice. Because I said I will not eat luchi. Somehow he said, little stomach and everything. That was the luchi was the thing that was made. And because he said, that's why he cannot eat anymore. So that's how Sri Ramakrishna says he's adherence. Once he said that I will go to your house today to one person. And in the midst of conversation, he forgot. The day went and he went to sleep. And almost to the midnight, he remembered, oh, I had said that I will go to his house and forgot. Now, truth has been already been said. So he called Hridaya. Hridaya, come. Hridaya, midnight, he was sleeping. Tomorrow morning, he has to go to do puja and all those things. What happened, uncle? Oh, I had said that I will go to his house. That's what are you going now this midnight? All will be sleeping. No, no, I said I will have to go and bring the hurricane lamp and the lantern, and then brought the lamp. He went with Hriday and went and put his look. Gate was almost closed, and put his foot, one foot from the gap in the gate, and put inside the compound and said, "Hello, I have come here." He said that just to keep the truth, but he was ready to take all the difficulties for to keep the truth, the words. That was Sri Ramakrishna's zeal for truth, and that comes from Rama. It's not that for nothing. He said, "We who was Rama, who was Krishna, had become Ramakrishna." Rama's all truthfulness of Rama, that Sri Ramakrishna all followed in his life. And he said, the householders should practice truth. By truth alone, you will practice, you will progress in spirituality. Truth through mind, thought, and action, speech. So that truth is not easy. To be truthful, a lot of sacrifice is needed. To be really truthful. So if we can do that, you are sure to become spiritual. It's a part of spiritual practice. Our Tulsi Das said, three things are necessary for realization of God. सत्यवचन, अधीनता, पर स्त्री मातृ समान. इन तीनों से हरि न मिले तो तुलसी झूठ जबान. Three things are necessary. It's a truthful speech, speaking truthfulness, and adhinata, remembering God, surrendering to God, and parastri matri saman, looking every woman as mother. If you can practice these three things, you will definitely see God. You will realize God. If you do not say that, Tulsi is a liar. And Tulsi cannot be a liar. That means it is the fact. And you will definitely realize God if you practice these three simple exercises. Swami Tyagananda gave a talk on beautiful YouTube talk, four simple exercises. He said something others also in that. Very simple, non-denominational. Any spiritual practitioner can listen to that. Four simple exercises, Swami Tyagananda. You can listen to this on YouTube. So this is what truthfulness is so important in life. And Sri Ramakrishna emphasizes that if you are truthful, you will definitely progress in spiritual life. If a man leads a householder's life, he must have unflagging devotion to truth. God can be realized through truth alone. What a great statement. Truth alone. Because in being truthful, you will have to bring all other spiritual disciplines: sacrifice, forbearance, and holding on to ideal. All has to come, otherwise you cannot become truthful in letter and spirit. All you have to do. So by truthful alone, one can realize God. That's what it is. I find a change. What's that? But the paragraph that begins on page 490. But my zeal for truthfulness has abated a little now. Once I said I would go to the pine grove, but then I felt I had no particular urge to go. What was to be done? I asked Ram about it. Ram was Sri Ramakrishna's nephew. He said, I didn't have to go. Then I reasoned to myself, well, everyone is Narayana. So Ram too is Narayana. Why shouldn't I listen to him? The elephant is Narayana, no doubt. But the Mahut also is Narayana too. Since the Mahut asked me not to go near the elephant, then why shouldn't I obey him? Through reasoning like this, my zeal for truthfulness is slightly less strong now than before. Earlier he would go. So much so truthful. There is a we don't understand why he used to go to Pine Grove now and then. So there is explanation. It was nature's call, Pine Grove. There was no washroom that time. There was no concept of washroom. So he used to go to Pine Grove for nature's call, and then he found they will go to Pine Grove, and then he found he has no real urge. Then what to do? He already said, "I will go to Pine Grove." Then why to go if you don't have urge? Then he asked something. So I have become little like that, reasoning out and making some compromise that I have become. But earlier it was not that way. So he was so like that, truthful in the sense that he asked someone to bring water there, and that person was busy. The other person said, "You are busy in other work. I will take the water for Sri Ramakrishna." He took the water. Sri Ramakrishna, no, no, I asked that person to bring. So go back and ask him to bring. Because I have asked that person, you bring the water. So he will have to bring the water. So, like that was the truthfulness of Sri Ramakrishna. Very 100% truthfulness. And how simple. It's not that his truthfulness is abated a little. It is about his simplicity that he shows. Whatever is there, he is praising truthfulness so much as the spiritual practice, strong, unflagging truthfulness as the spiritual practice to be done by every householder. It should be done. At the same time, he said how he compromised with the truth. There is nothing in Sri Ramakrishna, something hiding. So open book is Sri Ramakrishna. But that's how the life of Sri Ramakrishna and his teachings are as a perfect message for us. And his life is so open book. Nothing is hidden. So there has been no case of incarnation of God. Seeing his daily life, how God lives, how God works. Um, at one place, Arjuna says to Sri Krishna, "How a man of realization talk? How does he see it? How does he walk? How does he speak?" Like that, he says, "How does he behave?" He asks Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna gives in the second chapter itself. It is there. That's how we also think. How did Sri Krishna might have done, or Rama, or Krishna, or Christ? We know only when they give the lesson of Gita or Uddhava Gita or the Sermon on the Mount or Bible teaching. Only we know Christ of that, but we don't know how did Christ live like a human being. What was his feeling? What was his attitude? We don't know in details. We know that he never cursed anyone. He was the most forgiving and most forbearing. That was Jesus. Nobody was there. And that at most ultimate of forgiving is Jesus Christ. But we don't know how did he eat, how did he talk with the people. We don't know anything. But in Sri Ramakrishna's life, we find that when God comes as a human being, how does he live a daily life? His thoughts, his attitudes, uh, how that holy person's life in the world is like in detail, we can find and enjoy with the conception how his life is so different. Swami Vivekananda says that's why studying his whole life through his talks, association, deep thinking, and tremendous intelligence, he understands who Sri Ramakrishna is. And he says, there has been no time, no other incarnation has come with so much power. His disciple says, you are saying that Sri Ramakrishna is the incarnation of God. And how will people believe that? He was a human being living during our times. And Swami Vivekananda asked, what do you mean by incarnation? Oh, like the people like Rama, Krishna, Buddha, those all you gave the name. Sri Ramakrishna's life is much more higher and much more powerful spiritually than the names you just uttered now. And at one place he says, Avatar Varisthaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namah. As the avatar, you are the greatest among the avatars. O Sri Ramakrishna, I bow down to thee. So after studying deeply about the life of Sri Ramakrishna, how like a human being he lived, but how he transcended human limitations in his spiritual practice. No one can practice so many varieties of spiritual practice, and there is no need also. He has already realized God through Tantra, through Mother Kali, what God realization is. Now he says, Tantra, so I realize. What about Bhakti? What about Advaita? All he has to practice and see how that goes. What the inquisitiveness in spiritual life? What about Islam? How do they realize God? What about Christians? How do they worship God? All he wanted to experiment and find the way of worship of God, or mm, sadhana, for realizing God in different religions. So much thing has never happened in human history, never happened. So that's why Swami Vivekananda says he was the greatest of the avatars in that sense, he says. And if even if you say greatest of the avatara, it doesn't make Krishna and Buddha and Rama lesser than him. Because one who was Rama, who was Krishna, is Ramakrishna, he says. So if you make Rama and Krishna lesser than Sri Ramakrishna, then you already make Sri Ramakrishna lesser. To glorify Sri Ramakrishna, you have to glorify everyone. That one being appearing as Rama and Krishna and Buddha and Jesus, that appears as Sri Ramakrishna, same being. Maybe manifestation of the spiritual powers a little here and there, but all being. Krishna is the Purna Avatara, Rama is the Amsa Avatara. It's not that way. Rama is the same being, same power to redeem humanity. When Rama touches Ahalla and the stone with that, Ahalla comes and goes. Rama can give freedom or mukti to that Savari in the forest. It doesn't. Krishna has not to come that. When Rama kills Ravana, though he has to by curse, he has to be born as again at Vakradanta and Shishupala. But that doesn't mean Rama will not cannot give mukti. Jatayu got mukti. Many got mukti, but some process was there in the play. That's why the Ravana has to be born. Not because Rama is not capable of giving the mukti, but Rama want to give mukti, that because of curse to that he will have to be born. And still another role Rama has to play as Krishna in Krishna Avatara. If Krishna had not come, who would give us Gita, such a wonderful spiritual message, such light to the world? So this is the greatness of all incarnations coming again, and this to this world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming and giving the glory of God's name. Seeing the glory of God's name, he becomes spiritual. Buddha comes and says, meditate on the reality, and knowing that being free from all desires, tanha, give up and meditate on the reality, and you will find that blessedness. You will go beyond all suffering. All they come and give so much different messages in different times. And we, being born in this Kali Yuga, have that benefit. We are really fortunate to be born in Kali Yuga. We can practice the message of Rama, message of Krishna, message of Buddha, message of Jesus, message of Chaitanya, message of Sri Ramakrishna, and enrich our life in so many wonderful ways, be connected to God. We are fortunate to be born in Kali Yuga. Another in Kali Yuga, better thing is in whatever it took time in Satya Yuga to practice to realize God, it is one fourth time, one fragment of that spiritual practice produces result here. Less practice and more result, quicker result here, because distractions are more. So if we can practice little more, little of spiritual practice, we would get realization that practice would not make realize in Satya Yuga. So we in Kali Yuga are really fortunate. We should never say, oh, Kali Yuga, all is bad, all is worse, so much thing going on, all seeing negative. World will be always like that. Don't be disturbed by the things going on in the world. World is always like that. It has been like that before. In our parents' time also, like it was like that. There was Second World War, before that First World War, before that there were so many battles, wars, attacking, so many things were there. So many times people were attacked from other people. So war, battle, these all are the world is that way. Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravidya, God always that. One way it creates, another way it destroys. But we should not be disturbed by that, but we should hold on to God and try to progress spiritually and try to transform our our state of our mind to holier plane, to more elaborate and more spiritual plane, and make our life blessed. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme tayo sritva pranamami muhurmuhu. Thank you and good night to everyone. Good night.